AMNA, the Muslim Women's Resource Centre, is a Scotland-wide organisation which provides support to Muslim women, ensuring their voice is heard and capacity built to enable their fuller engagement in public life. As well as working to overcome discrimination, MWRC looks to inform policy and debate on issues which have an impact on the lives of Muslim women in Britain. The focus of this video, the issue of hijab, clearly has local, national and international significance for Muslim women and their communities alike.
Sometimes I think, well, is it really a woman that's under it all?
I don't know, I don't think they should have to cover, but I think if it's a personal choice.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not sure quite why. I mean, it's obviously to do with religious reasons, but I find it quite intimidating.
It's like perfectly normal, I think.
You think it's normal?
Yeah. Well, it's their religion, so.
Yeah.
In certain places, maybe kind of makes sense for them to be able to see, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For the other people to see faces.
Yeah.
Certain buildings like banks and things like that.
Yeah, actually, it suits the women better, and they look more of a traditional when they put a scarf on their heads.
In the last few years, the hijab and the niqab have become the focus of political debate, often portrayed negatively by the media, stirring wider discussion around freedom of expression. This short film looks at life with the hijab and niqab for Muslim women in Scotland.
Today we're filming in the mosque, so that's why I'm wearing hijab, but I don't normally wear it. I wear it out of respect in the mosque, you know, when I pray, when I'm in the mosque, I wear it when I read Quran, I wear it, but outside I don't wear it. Yeah, I don't wear it because I just don't feel ready. Like, I feel like since I'm 26, since the age of about 21, I've really, you know, I was born a Muslim, but I really came into Islam myself. I've learned about it and grown on what I already knew. But I feel that I've grown quite a lot in 5 years, and hijab, inshallah, like God willing, will be the next step for me. Whether it's in a year, whether it's in a couple of years, I really don't know. I'm just hoping something will click.
Many different identities have kind of come together, and they're working in perfect harmony, I would say now. I'm at that stage where I can kind of solidify many different identities. For example, first and foremost, I identify myself as Muslim. Secondly, I would identify myself as being Scottish, and it helps that I was born and brought up here, so I see myself as Scottish.
And I have never really said to Sophia as a child that, even to my younger child, I've never said, you have to wear the hijab when you're older. Obviously they see me, I'm a role model for them, and I've got sisters and we've got extended family that they wear hijab. So Sophia knew it's going to come, it came naturally to Sophia, didn't it, Sophia? How do you feel?
It was just normal. There's not a lot, there's only a few girls wearing the hijab at school. That's always because everyone has a choice, so no one's forced to do it. Obviously you're encouraged to wear the scarf, but no one is like really forced or like whipped or anything. I don't know why people have this image that we are oppressed or forced to wear the scarf, because I'm certainly not, and I just don't understand it really. Yeah,
you don't have to be boring
nice
with the hijab on.
I know, because if you be boring, it gives a wrong signal, message to other people as well. Just like, yeah,
oppressed,
just,
I know.
so,
we need to get out of that.
Yeah,
and look more lively.
Yeah, you know, it's modern time, so you need to show people who you are.
When I started wearing it, nobody cared, so I was proud of myself, and I just was happy, and I stuck to it, and I'm not going to take it off that much. It's like a religion to wear it, and if you wear it, you have to wear it proud, and you have to wear it like, you have to be nice if you wear it, and if you be bad while you're wearing it, there's no point of wearing it really.
Right now she might be following an example, a good example. That's why, you know, I'm happy for her. I'm very proud as a parent as well that she's following a good example rather than many other poor examples that people would follow. But as we say, you know, we live in in a society that I'm sure there's going to be challenges in the future, and especially with some of the issues these days that we're seeing with the burqa and other things as well.
The niqab to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense when I'm talking about how I conduct myself, because it's only the name for the small piece of cloth that covers my face. The hijab being the headscarf and only the headscarf, and the jilbab, or at least that's the name I know it for, the coat that actually covers me down to my ankles. When I step out of my house, I cover myself from my head to my toe, and basically hands and feet are left uncovered. Why I wear it is that, having been born a Muslim, I've always known that I ought to do parda, or the veil. And the reason why I cover my face is the verse itself that I was reading at the time is ambiguous. It just says that to show that you're a pious, practicing Muslim woman, when you step out of your house, you should cover yourself from your head to your toes. It doesn't say whether you should leave your face uncovered or you should cover your face. But there are lots of other hadith or bits of information. All the things that I found made sense to me that I would rather cover my face and be wrong than not cover my face and be wrong.
Every Muslim औरत जो है उसको अल्लाह ताला ने 14 ईयर में एक किस्म का आर्डर दिया है। सबसे पहले ये आर्डर हमारे नबी हज़रत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर उतरा था। जब ये उतरा था उसी वक़्त औरतों ने पहले हिजाब नहीं पहनती थी। जब उनके पास ये आर्डर आया था तो उन्होंने जब ऐलान किया तो सब औरतें जो घर से बाहर थी वो भी दौड़ में घर में गईं, तो ऊपर ये बड़ी चादर ओढ़ ली। इसके बाद सब औरतों ने ये हिजाब करना शुरू कर दिया है। ये हमारा एक आर्डर है। ये हमारे कुरान पाक में भी ये एक आयत नूर है जिसमें ये सारा हिजाब के मुतल्लिक़ औरतों का लिखा हुआ है कि औरतें भी मस्ट अपने, ये नहीं कि सिर्फ हिजाब ही होने, लेकिन पूरे बदन पर ये पूरे कपड़े होने चाहिए। सिर्फ औरत का फेस, हैंड और पाँव नंगे होने चाहिए।
It's an interesting question, what is hijab and what is niqab? Obviously, the question's not just asked by Muslims, it's asked by non-Muslims because of the political situation we're in. But hijab basically is a word in Arabic which indicates a separation or a veil. So it's quite a simple word with a very simple meaning. But if you look at how it was used in the Quranic sources, you'll see that it was used to separate two spheres, the public and the private. And if you have to understand this, you'll probably have to look at how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to live and how his private space was related to the public space of the mosque. In terms of religious law, when women are praying, they have to cover their hair. So there's a kind of link between the prayer and covering. But other than that, it's always a question of security and modesty. And again, the idea of hijab is something that's not specific to women, it's also applies to men in terms of modesty, because the hijab is an outward manifestation of inward modesty. So a man is similarly told to cover certain parts of their nakedness in the same way that women are. So that's important to keep in mind. This is an interesting issue because people take it to be a grave sin. I mean, if you speak to Muslims, and especially conservative Muslims, they say that if a woman doesn't wear a covering over her hair, then she's committing a major sin, a mortal sin. But scholars are quite clear about this. It's a minor sin, in the same way that forgetfulness is, heedlessness is, or telling a white lie or something like that. It's a minor sin, but it's not something that affects the person's spiritual state, because it's an outward manifestation of how the person is. And I know many people that they may not wear the hijab outwardly, but inwardly they're good people, and all things being equal, they would like to.
The The French decision to ban the burqa has brought more negative focus on Islam and the rights of Muslim women to choose how they practice their faith. Open-minded democratic people recognise the decision as a token display from the French right.
Well, we're seeing the attack on the niqab across Europe. We're seeing the attack in countries like France and Italy and Belgium. Belgium have already banned the niqab, and now Italy and France are looking to follow suit. For the Muslim women who do actually wear the hijab or the niqab that live in these countries, for them sticking to their religion is going to take precedence over anything else.
Well, given what's happened in France with the ban of the niqab and everything, it sort of threatens Europe and Britain and Scotland, and it makes you feel vulnerable as well. But I think for us it's here to stay, and we're not going to give up that easily.
I have had one bad experience when Sarkozy said the comment about we have to help these women, they're clearly oppressed, we should ban the hijab and niqab because they can help these oppressed women. Well, that was out in the media a lot, and I was at the park with my kids. And I think what upset me really a lot was, one, I don't get a lot of comments when I have my kids with me. And secondly, I didn't have my kids, I had my friends' kids as well. And this man, he looked sort of in his 60s. He had a little baby girl in a pram, and he was coming over to the park. We were inside the park. He was walking along the path to the park, and my youngest was running, and he fell over. And I wasn't quick enough to catch him before he fell. And this man said, "That's just not on." And I really thought he was talking about my parenting skills. I should have been a bit more aware, I should have gotten to him in time or done something. So I just turned around in response to him speaking, and I said, "Oh, I think he's all right." So I had my son in my arms, and he just started swearing. "You're effing not, you don't belong here, you're scared the kids, you do this, you do that. Look at these kids, look at them, they're all scared of you." And all the kids in the park were either my friends' kids or my boys. And that took me really off guard.
I think what's important for people to understand and realise is that the religion of Islam transcends race, religion, tribe, geographic boundaries. When you call yourself a Muslim, you're actually part of a wider network of Muslims, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of whether you're black, white, whatever colour you may be. And this bond is something that is very secure, because you're bound and you have that bond with one another based on your belief. So a Muslim's belief is what binds us together.
I haven't made the decision of wearing the hijab as of yet, because I feel like it's a very big commitment and I haven't reached the point where I'm ready to do so. Because I've had some colleagues and peers of mine who actually went on and wore the hijab, but then later on they've taken it off. And to me as a person, I'm very much committed to my religion, and I feel like very much I'm a Muslim. And I've had points in my life where I was soul searching, and each and every time I would get back to my religion, and it's strengthened that bond. We have lots of section leaders, musical section leaders, and one of them is our cellist. Her name is Tuka, and she wears the hijab. And people who have a very stereotypical idea about hijab would think she's the oppressed girl who sits in the corner and just plays her music and does nothing else. But in fact, she's a force on her own. She's a conductor on her own. She has an amazing personality. She's very open and she's very well spoken. And to me, she's an excellent representation of a young Muslim girl who wears the hijab very proudly and doesn't see it as an oppression force as some of the people would like to think.
Is this a cultural hijab that you wear, or is this an Islamic hijab?
It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. In the part of the world where I come from, in Africa, Nigeria precisely, we try to marry the religion, the Islamic way of dressing, into our culture. And I also try to make sure that my behavior especially speaks for what I'm trying to convey to people. So I try as much as possible to imbibe that culture of adapting to what the religion speaks about, being nice to people, your neighbors and everything. Then also I try to dress modestly because I'm a mom. My daughter Iman, she's Scottish. She's Scottish. That's one. Fine. She's got her Nigerian parents. She's Nigerian also, but she was born here. All her life has been here, so I believe this is where she knows as home. So looking at the hijab for her, I wasn't forced to wear it, to be honest. So I would want her to see it as something that is valuable. I would as a mom, I would guide her to understand the concept of what hijab is about.
The fashion industry puts pressure on women to dress and even behave in ways that reflect advertising, to be attractive and desirable, fitting into stereotypes designed to sell products. Wearing the hijab enables women to focus on their inner beauty, greatly reducing the pressure created from the advertising industry.
I think since wearing the hijab, I feel a lot more confident. It's certainly maybe almost improved my self-esteem. I feel that there's a lot of pressures that women have to face in terms of Western society and looking a certain way, in appearing a certain way, and I feel that almost like in terms of wearing a hijab that I'm not judged in terms of what I look like. My principles and values haven't changed, but I feel as if I'm a lot more open about it now. For example, some of the things that I was doing when I worked in the private firm was maybe having to book a meeting room at lunchtime to go and do my prayer, rather than maybe praying openly somewhere or telling anyone I was going up to pray. I can remember at one point there was a meeting room on the floor above, and I was going upstairs with my little prayer mat in a carrier bag, and a girl I worked with was asking me where I was going, thinking, where are you going at lunchtime? Why are you going upstairs to the meeting rooms? And I wasn't really sure what to say, and I was kind of like a rabbit caught in headlights.
There is actually more to Islam than what's been shown on the media, and which is as a consequence, I think there are even in the UK today, I think every year there are about 15,000 new female converts to Islam.
So Islam ultimately is a complete way of life. As I said, from the way you dress, the way you eat, to the way you interact with others, to your business dealings, all about being honest, being kind, and representing the ways of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the hijab is one factor of that, is to dress modestly, to be modest not just on the outside but on the inside as well. But ultimately, if you dress modestly, it has an effect on your inner character. You're not so focused on the material things in life, you're not so focused on your appearance, so ultimately it has a humble effect on your character and helps focus on more spiritual things. So for me, my journey, the hijab was like the penultimate thing. Islam actually liberates women and uplifts them to a high status of honour and respect. If you care about something, you want to cover it up, you want to protect it. So women are protected in Islam.
As we have seen, hijab is an important part of a Muslim woman's identity. An expression of choice a manifestation of faith and a source of pride and joy to those that wear it. We hope this film can address the misconceptions and prejudices that may be formed by lack of awareness and the contentious media coverage about Muslim women. Here are some final messages.
I think that people need to look behind the headlines and when they're surfing the net, maybe just do a little bit of research and just think about the Muslims that they deal with in day-to-day life. I think what people tend to hear in the media is far from the truth.
In the past few years I've had a few chances to actually communicate with young people my age from all over the world through global summits and through the orchestra, which is my project, that I've realised that people are, coming together, are celebrating their differences, and that difference and diversity is not a bad thing at all.
I think the interesting thing about Scotland is, and I think the thing that I've noticed when I've travelled abroad, is that Scotland's a very cosmopolitan and pluralist society, and that's kind of mirrored in this slogan, One Scotland, Many Cultures.
Whether someone says something about the colour of our skin, or what we're wearing, or the person that we're with, we take these comments and take them on board within ourselves, and we hear them, but we don't do anything about them because we just think that's life. And I think it's definitely British culture is to just alright, that person said that, whether it hurt me or not, I just got to get on with it because there's nothing you can do. And I think hopefully this video will change people's ideas and at least stop some comments that women have to put up with. And it really comes to the point where we don't have to put up with ignorance and intolerance.
I think ultimately for my family, through their dealings with me as a Muslim and wearing hijab and the outer garment and coming to an open day and meeting other Muslims, has perhaps changed, maybe altered their perception of Islam from what they've seen in the media, and now they support my choice. They're very supportive of me, and they realise that it's my own decision to do so.
The idea that other Muslims also think that somebody who wears a niqab is a fanatic has on occasion kind of come at me, and we get moderate Muslims saying, look, you really don't have to do this. Is this really necessary? And all of that combined, non-Muslims' reactions and Muslims' reactions, all of that combined makes me feel about it. To some people, it is not about a fundamental right to make a choice about what it is that you believe in and our principal values for you. It's about what would be acceptable in society. And to me, this choice isn't about what's acceptable in society.
Well, the hijab, it gives me my dignity, and it makes me me, it's part of my personality, and it makes me feel secure.